Then another most important one is stagflation. Stagflation. In the beginning itself, we have defined that a mild inflation is better than a mild deflation. When there is a mild inflation, very small rate of increase in the level of prices, mild inflation, we may find that as a result of the mild inflation, production, there is a chance of increasing the level of prices, and increasing level of prices will lead to increasing the profit of the producers. When the profit of the producers is increasing, investment will increase. With the increase in the investment, more employment opportunity will be created. A slight inflation can create more employment opportunity. When there is unemployment is existing, create a small dose of inflation, you can reduce unemployment. We can solve the problem of unemployment. At least to few percent employment opportunity we can offer. When unemployment is existing, create a small dose of inflation. Inflation is a cure for unemployment. It will create more employment. But against this we find in countries like India, while the inflation is going on increasing, unemployment is also simultaneously growing without showing a reduction in the unemployment. We find unemployment is while increasing, inflation is also there. Simultaneous increase in inflation and unemployment exists in countries like India. Such a inflation, contradicting the earlier statement, is what is known as stagflation. Our stagflation is coexistence, simultaneous or coexistence of inflation and unemployment. Simultaneously existence of the inflation as well as unemployment in a country give this concept of stagflation. That is stagnation in the employment opportunity. In the employment opportunity, there is a stagnation is existing, but inflation is going on increasing. Inflation is going on increasing, and along with that unemployment is also increasing. A simultaneous coexistence of inflation and unemployment is what is known as the stagflation. It is called stagflation. And in the present situation, it is said that India is also facing with a stagnation in employment opportunity and inflation going on increasing. Recent report is what 2 days back, the report of government is that you find the inflation rate from 4%, today it is 7%. Inflation rate recently has gone up due to consumer commodity price was increasing, especially that savala, the price of which was going on. English, many type of articles, common consumption articles of average people, the price level was going on increasing, the cost of living was increasing, and hence the index number of consumer prices was also going on. From 4% rate of inflation this month, it has reached to the level of 7%. 7% hike. What is the target of government of India with regard to the inflation rate? The targeted inflation rate is 4%. 4% the targeted rate of inflation, plus or minus 2 ആണ്. As far as government of India target is concerned, the government wants to reduce the rate of inflation and keep it by 4%. 4%, it can also allow plus or minus 2 also. Plus or minus 2% can also be allowed. That means if it is 4 plus 2, 6%, minimum 4 minus 2, 2%. Our fluctuation up to plus or minus 2 is also permitted. But now what happened? It has gone above 6%. It has gone above 6%. That means the ceiling level permitted has also gone. and the inflation is at present 7%. And at the very same time, it has been reported that unemployment in the Indian economy at present is also increasing. At present, unemployment in the Indian economy is also increasing, so that truly there is a situation of stagflation now seen in the Indian context during this month, during the month beginning of 2020. എങ്ങനെ എന്താണ് അതുകൊണ്ട് എക്സാമ്പിൾ പറഞ്ഞു എന്നുള്ളതേ ഉള്ളൂ. മെനി സച്ച് കമ്മോഡിറ്റി വി ഫൈൻഡ് ദ കൺസംഷൻ കമ്മോഡിറ്റി ബാസ്ക്കറ്റ്, you find the prices is generally going up. See, more severely we see to that particular onion, we find the prices is going up. But almost all commodities put in the consumption basket, we find a cost അല്ലെങ്കിൽ price rise generally seen, leading to CPI to go up to 7% this month. അല്ലേ? അപ്പോൾ above the target ആണ്. 4 plus or minus 2, the target level fixed by government for inflation in the country. And the government policies are also to keep the inflation level minimum 4% or below 4%. That is not found existing today. It has gone up. Above, there is a stagnation in the employment opportunity while the inflation rate is going on increasing. Truly, there is a stagflation situation in Indian economy at present. Number 7, skew inflation. Skew inflation. Skew inflation is in other words known as lopsided lopsided inflation or skew inflation. And this word skew inflation was introduced in the Economic Survey of India 2009-10. 2009-10 Economic Survey of India introduced this concept of what is called skew inflation. Skewness, departure from symmetry, is what is called skewness. You find that skew inflation in India at that time, 2009-10 time, the agricultural, the food price was going on increasing. Food consumption commodity, especially food item prices alone in India went up and up without affecting manufacturing or industrial commodity. Food material alone we find the price was going on increasing, whereas it was not affected to industrial prices in 2009-10. That means one side you find inflation, one set of commodity there is inflationary rise in prices without affecting the other. Similar to agricultural commodity. Today, only food items we find, the consumption food item we find the general price was going on increasing without affecting the other manufactured and industrial commodity prices in India during the period. That is why we call it as lopsided, not both sides going in similar manner, but one side deviating from symmetry and increasing the prices, especially what item? Food item prices is going on soaring, going on increasing, while the other price not affected. Such an inflation caused in India during the period 2009-10 led to the development of the word skew inflation in the Economic Survey report of 2009-10. Then number 8, next one is the revival portion. That is when we find one economy is at a very lower level, we have to reflate the economy. That is presently we see reflation. Reflation means in India at present there is a downtrend. there is a downtrend, decrease in the GDP, decrease in the production, income, employment opportunity. Everywhere there is a downtrend is seen in the economy. Suppose the downtrend is leading to a crisis situation, a depression, very lower level. Government will introduce monetary packages and fiscal packages to revive the economy. To revive the economy, monetary and fiscal packages may be introduced in the economy. As a result, the economy will be going up, reviving from depression. It may revive from depression. That phase is what is known as reflation. E phase is what is called reflation. Reflation means what? Creating inflation. A small dose of inflation is created when the economy is at the very lower crisis period. Crisis we cannot, downtrend we cannot permit. We cannot allow to continue this downtrend because it may lead to a very critical crisis situation. Before reaching to the floor level, government will start stimulation packages. Stimulation packages are what we have already started in India. And as a result of the stimulation packages, the economy will revive. We are creating inflation. We are trying to create inflation to get out of the downtrend. That phase, that situation of creating inflation and taking the economy up and up from crisis is what is known as reflation. Inflation rate minus ആയി പോകുന്നു, അല്ലെ മൈനസ് കഴിഞ്ഞ് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ഡിപ്രഷൻ വരും. അതിന് മുൻപ് ആയാലും കുഴപ്പമില്ല, അപ്പോഴും ഇക്കോണമി ഈസ് അറ്റ് ദ വെരി ലോവർ ലെവലാണ്, വെരി ലോവർ ലെവൽ ഓഫ് ആക്ടിവിറ്റി ആണ്. At that level, in order to revive the economy, what monetary policy measures is adopted is leading to reflation of the economy, taking the economy to an upward level. That point is what is, that phase is what is called reflation. വളരെ താഴ്ന്ന നിൽക്കുന്ന ആ ലെവലിൽ നിന്നും ഉയർത്തിയെടുത്തുകൊണ്ട് വരുന്ന പ്രോസസ്സ്. Through monetary packages and fiscal packages, it is possible to revive the economy. ആ ടേണിംഗ് പോയിന്റ് ആണ് what is known as reflation of the economy. These are all new terms. These are all the other new terms, current terms for inflation to explain the different stages. The different stages and the different activities we can find with respect to this inflation and different concepts of inflation. Suppose you are taking a long period, let for example year 2000 to 2019, last year, about 19 years period you are taking, and you are plotting the production, GDP, output growth rate, income growth rate, price, all the aggregate economic activity. The aggregate economic activity of production increase or the employment level, production level, income level, GDP level, price level, all such aggregate economic activity during a long period of 19 years, suppose you are plotting in the graph paper. You may find a fluctuation. Never the economy will go on steadily increasing or steadily decreasing. May not. There can be fluctuation in the aggregate economic activity. For example, some period the economy may improve and there may be an increasing trend. After some time it may come down to hit the lower level. Again it may go up. Again it may come down. In this manner, the aggregate economic activity during a long time will move like a wave. Wave-like movement in the aggregate economic activity, a characteristic feature for all the economy, whether it is developing country like India or underdeveloped economy or advanced economy. This is an inherent characteristic feature, sir. Every time. It is too severely it may be affecting. There also it may be a characteristic feature, since there is no economic plan existing in the capitalistic economy. It is subject to wide fluctuation. എങ്ങനെയാണ്? എന്ത് വരാം ഇല്ല വരും. That even in case of this US economy, such a situation was generated. ഇതെല്ലാം എല്ലാ economies applicable ആണ്, not for the Indian situation alone. All the terms we have discussed is equally applicable to both advanced as well as the developing countries. About this long-term fluctuation, aggregate activity fluctuation, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ the we say the wave-like movement. Wave-like movement in the aggregate economic activity of a country during a long period is what is called trade cycle. What is called trade cycle, or what is called business cycle. Business cycle. A cyclical fluctuation is a inherent characteristic feature of all economies, including developing economy, capitalist economy, socialistic economy, where everywhere we find this is an inherent characteristic feature of upswings and downswings. Wave-like movement is possible. But if you take one cycle, means one upswing and another downswing, followed by one upswing is followed by a downswing sequentially in all the phases. Now this is one phase where one cycle upswing down, another phase taken together, one cycle complete is taken. Second cycle, third cycle, fourth cycle. Now you see a number of such cycles constitute trade cycle or a business cycle during a long period of time. During a long period of time, many such cyclical phases you can see. One cycle, when you take the cycle amplitude you are taking, length you are taking, this is upswing in first cycle, second cycle upswing, third cycle upswing, fourth cycle upswing. Amplitude may differ from one cycle to the other. The amplitude of which may differ from one cycle to the other. There is no such a sequence is there. Exact in this manner it will never go. The amplitude of the each cycle may vary from one cycle to the other. Now suppose you are taking one cycle I am taking one cycle. This is one cycle, in the same manner repeatedly going on in the second, third, etc. Now this is one cycle full is taken. Take a normal line. This is a normal line. If it is a normal line, we may say the cycle, one cycle is divided into 4 distinguishing phases. PHASES, phases. 4 distinguishing phases. That is, from the very lower crisis level, because of the monetary packages introduced by the government, the economy may get revival. Reflation, revival may be possible to the economy. That phase is what is known as revival phase. First of all, in the phase we find there is a revival. The economy is being revived from a lower down level. From very lower down depression അല്ലെങ്കിൽ crisis level, the economy is being revived, and that phase is what is called revival phase of a business cycle. അതാണ്, in other words, what we have said is reflation, reflating the economy, or revival is the result. Revival, when continued, this phase, this portion is what is called expansion അല്ലെങ്കിൽ expansionary phase. Expansion. Revival will lead to expansion at a speedy level. Improvement in the economy is possible. Expansion അല്ലെങ്കിൽ expansionary phase. That expansion touching the ceiling level turns down. Recession. This phase is what is called recessionary spin. Recessionary or recession phase അല്ലെങ്കിൽ a recessionary situation happens. After touching the ceiling level, it comes down. The turning point is what is called recession. India is now facing a recessionary phase. India is now facing the recessionary stage. From a higher level of economic development, GDP growth, we are coming down, decreasing level of the GDP. That phase is what is called the recessionary phase. India is now facing with the recession. If the recession is allowed to continue, it may lead to the next stage of contractionary phase or contraction. Or subsequently, the same will be repeated. Revival, expansion, recession, contraction. In the sequence, all the cycles will go. And if you want, about four phases are. One cycle is having 4 phases in the same sequence. Starting, revival, expansion, recession, contraction, the same sequence in which each cycle will go on in the economy during a long period of time. You see, the economy is touching the maximum level of advancement, expansion. If you want, we can say that stage, the peak level, stage as peak. If you want, you can say it as peak or boom condition. Boom condition, it may reach the boom condition. And likewise here, contraction is going on, decreasing the economic situation of the economy, touching the floor level, trough level, TROUGH, trough level. The economy is moving between ceiling boom and floor trough with 4 phases in the same order. 4 phases in the same order of revival, expansion, recession, contractions. Here we may say the economy is reviving the economy. Little by little mild inflation is causing. Again, expansionary phase, contractionary phase before that, recession starting, contraction, in the same manner it will go up. And for the stability, we have to introduce packages. For the controlling too much expansion and controlling the downswing also, instruments we can use, packages we can use for the controlling of both inflation and deflation. Monetary and fiscal policy necessary.